a solved theory, a few new members of the church potentially getting more than they've bargained for, in a tunnel being built, a potential escape route potentially for us as well. Some interesting stuff that unfolded itself in the last episode, presented itself in a quicker, a lot sooner fashion than I was truly anticipating. So this is going to be interesting to see where we are. I had talked about last episode before it began that we feel we're at a point that something big almost needs to happen, and we got that sort of in a way with Bedeni coming to terms and fully getting the answers, I guess, that he's out seeking with trying to prove heliocentrism. So with that happening, the other big thing that I think I was anticipating was somebody else coming in, like Novak or just other members of the church, or something happening where things explode in our face almost. For better or worse, I guess, because realistically they could still explode, but preparation and things that were a large focus almost in the previous episode seem to be potential escape routes and reasons to almost play it off as if we're still doing good if caught. So there's different routes, of course, that it can go here. So even if it does blow up, can be utilized to our advantage, but at a certain time, maybe not. So it's going to be a fun little battle, and I think getting Novak and some others into this again really adds that threat of what was lurking in the background so much throughout the first initial few episodes that haven't been there due to his screen time being kind of non-existent since like episode 5 or 6. So it'll be fun and almost scary to think. And now knowing, or as we have known him to be somebody who is fairly smart and doesn't really get sidetracked easily through dumb little tropey typical things that you'd expect. So I'm excited to see how he plans to approach and handle this, and how exactly somebody like Videni plans to do that, and what his plans are for maybe continuation of working alongside or helping out somebody else like Oxy. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like it all, like and subscribe. Now it's my feel free to stick around with the discussion. Let me consider the series. We're going with the 11th episode of Whoop. Got some work to do.
よろしくお願いします。
硬いね。その不安はわかるよ。
I mean, it's just starting to meet my higher up.
仕事だけど、異端と接したり、拷問したりするのは気持ちいいもんじゃないからね。私だってまだ娘にちゃんと話せてないし。
No, you haven't.
ま、安心してよ。
She's grown up.
やっていくうちになれるから。これは一人の異端者を審問する際に必要な書類の厚さ。
Oh, the worst. Actually makes torturing the most fun part. How do I take your job? Maybe we never have to do this.
だからそういう案件があったら意識的に手を挙げれば点数を稼げる。教様って昔天文学をやってたらしいんだよね。なのに今は異常に勘違いしてる。こういう場合、昔何か嫌なことがあったんだと思うよ。若い頃のそういうのは根深いからさ。もう質問ない？
Lots about that.
異端審問所で実習だ。行こう。
Go.
どうも、アントニーさん。
なんか騒が
The hell have you been telling them?
ただでさえ君ら審問官の維持に金がかかるのに新人採用したのかよ。
A hierarchy within.
これだから無知は。いいか、異教徒との戦争にも教会を維持するにも金が必要なんだよ。
Everything does.
理解しろ。お前、司教様に気に入られてるか知らんが、審問官風情は身をわきまえろよ。
はい、承知しま。
Get a job. Work for the church. It'll be good for you. Everybody will look up to you. Except for those within.
今のは
Maybe. Never met the guy. Know his name though.
知らないけど、まあわかりやすく言うと司教様の息子。
Oh, the worst.
息子、独身性は
もちろん守っているよ。公には。
See, once you get involved, you learn some stuff. That's like everything, though, to be fair, you know? Think it's one way, and then you get in, and it's usually a lot worse. Sometimes it's not, weirdly, but that's typically when you already have a bad image of it, and then you get in. Usually it gets a little better as opposed to like even worse because it's already bad enough. Here they thought everything was going to be sunshine and rainbows. We're about to be torturing and doing the dirty work.
君ら、異端と話したことある？
Probably. Unknowingly.
もちろんありません。
だよね。
Well, good luck.
まあ
Go in there and
一つだけ。奴らは嘘がうまい。騙されないように。
they're just going to let you do all the work. Who are we meeting with?
女性？
黒ミサのことなんて何も知らないって言うんだ。でも複数件の通報が入っているからしっかり取り調べなきゃいけない。まず今日君らにやってもらうのは
Fingernail by fingernail.
指攻め。
だから何度も言ってるじゃないですか。私は何も知りません。
君これを親指にはめ
No, don't worry. These guys are trained. I'm just teaching them the ropes. First day on the job.
さあ何か言う気になりましたか？
だから何も知らないって。
早く。
山菜を探してたらあの森に着いただけで。
しょうがない。もっと回して。
しかしこれ以上は。
What's the
な
point?
んだ。それが指示書に書かれている決まりだよ。次君、左手が残ってる。
Everyone gets a hand, and we'll take a break for a day. Let it continue.
じゃあ喋ってください。一人であの森に偶然たどり着いたわけないでしょう。
In the off chance she
誰
did.
かから聞いたんだ。
なんでこんな目に。
回して。
本当に何も知らないんじゃ。
Remember what he said before you came in?
やって。
神様。
できません。
ああ、そうか。まあ、しょうがないね。
I got you, bro. Only your first day.
頑張ったよ。じゃあ、君続き。
Oh. You don't want to do it, I'll make somebody else suffer.
やめてください。言います。隣人のアンナです。私の弟が病気で黒見さんに行けば薬草をくれるってあの森に。私は魔女じゃないんです。ただ薬草が欲しくて。
Typically not for bad reasonings. It's usually a last effort hope.
どうも、情報提供に感謝します。さあ、ちょっと休憩しようか。のはわかる。初日だしね。ただ、仕事を早く終わらせたいなら、気分を入れ替えなきゃ。
しかしこの方法は本当に正しいのでしょうか。
Whoever said anything about the right way.
偽証する可能性だってある。もう少し対話によって愛によって構成を。
ダメだ。いいかい。そもそも私たちには何の決定権もない。
Do as we're told, we get paid. Bada bing.
それにこの仕事に就くと気づくけど、奴ら異端は手段を選ばない。
ノバクさん、
ん？
緊急の派遣要請です。通報が入りました。
それは
I
私
just
が
got
行くの？
done with the job.
実習指導中なんだけど。
はい。司教直々にご指名が。
It's a big deal.
ならしょうがないね。じゃあお二人続きは誰かに聞いて、またどっかで会ったらよろしく。今回何？また宇宙論？
その
I'd assume it's not even with any but the book found from the other guy.
僕の代わりに拷問をやらせてしまって。
まあ一つ貸しだぜ。
顔色一つ変えてなかった。
He's seen some shit.
続ければあんなになれる時が来るのかな。
さあ、
Likely
でもやるしかない。
mindset change
これは
already affecting.
人類のためなんだから。
Aw,
お久しぶりです。
got the whole gang back
お
together.
久しぶりです。ヨレンタさん。
どうも。
では乾杯。
Novak comes in and just starts restraining his daughter.
あの件、進展があったとか。
ああ、今日みんなに集まってもらった理由は他でも
Got big news.
あれが完成した。
本当に。
ま、正確には私が発表しても構わないと思う完成度に達したってことだが。
不思議ですね。その事実も、それを知ってるのが私たちというのも。
It's like no little secret.
俺なんて未だに実感が湧きません。
ああ、私もだ。惑星軌道の数学的記述こそ一旦完成したものの、まだ自然哲学的には謎が大量にある。
Sure.
それはこれからの問題だ。近いうちに南西にある共和国へ行く。あそこは比較的自由に研究が行えるらしい。それと修道院長が私の悪評を広めてしまっているらしいから、これからは減俗して身分を偽る。
Mm.
もう修道士でいる必要もないしな。あとは貴族や富裕層の学問好き相手に家庭教師をして当分のつてと収入を得る。そうやって地盤を固め、発表の自説を狙う。
では、あの
I
村を。
love that he thought it through.
ああ、
奥地さんもご存知で。
Found that right now. Oh, no.
この前言われたばっかですが、それから適当に仕事を見つけて、当面はお金を貯めて、将来的には大学へ行きたいと思ってます。
We have dreams.
ちょっと興味が湧いて。今後の人生の予定もないですし、気長に目指そうかと。
なんだそれ。
素晴らしいことだと思います。頑張ってください。
Press aim and high.
ヨレンタさんはどうするんですか、これから先。
私は上司のコルベさんが出世して新しくできた天文の研究班に私を採用してくれたので、当面はそこでの仕事に勤めます。
Could be good, could not be good. Depends on how you feel about him.
ちゃんと論文を発表してみたいです。
自分の名前。
ええ、
Take Piast's
今はそれ
words.
すらままならないので、
Take it to heart.
私がそういう前例を作れたら更新も生まれやすいというか、誰でも平等に研究を発表できる未来、自由な知的空間ができるいつかの未来のために一役変えたらなと。まあ、
Or even set it in motion.
話ですが、
夢。その言葉の意味がわかる気がします。
Time to have some
なんというか
fun.
夢っていうのがあると、とりあえず1週間くらいは悲劇に耐えられる気がします。これは確かに貴重なことですね。
ええ、同感です。あ、そういえば奥地さんが書いてる本って今どうなっているんですか？
それがちょっと前に大体は完成したんですけど。
Did you know?
本当ですか？
いやあ、ヨレンタ。
なんでここに？
出張でこっちまで来てね、せっかくだから。
He's like, holy fuck, no way.
職場の人にお前の居場所を尋ねたんだよ。
I wonder if he spills anything. Oh, he's gonna recognize. I forgot.
失礼しました。
ああ、すいません。紹介します。私の父です。
どうも、ヨレンタの父のノバクと申します。失礼、座っても。
Never seen a man so terrified. Literal stone right now. And Grady said that.
ヨレンタさんのお父様って何をされてる方なんですか？
それが。
まあ、ちょっとした生殖関係の。
Right? I haven't told her. Can't do that.
いつも細かいことは教えてくれないんです。
I wonder
家
why.
族といるときは仕事を忘れたいもんだよ。
そんな気なんて使わなくても神様に関わる立派なお仕事なのでは？
まあ、いろいろあるのさ。
He's so different with her. I love that.
ところで、お二人は娘とどういった関係で？見たところ、ピャスタ博の施設関係者ではなさそうですが。
Let Daddy talk. Let Daddy
見ての
talk.
通り、私らは普段村の教会で
We
働いています。的に天文や先生術の研究もしてます。
研究。
Interesting.
娘さんとはちょっと前、町の情報交換掲示板で出会ったんです。とても博識でいらっしゃるので、こうやって時々勉強会をさせてもらってるんですよ。
いや、素晴らしいな。感心してちょっと黙っちゃいました。
I'm sure.
生殖に勤めていながらさらに研究とはなんて熱心。情けない話、私なんてすぐ怠けるもので。
いえ、私
I'm really proud of her.
勤勉さにはかないません。
Hmm.
とても聡明で理知的な方だ。
ありがとうございます。正
So
直
cute.
そう言われるのが生きてて一番嬉しいです。
ちょっと大げさです。
褒められたんだからいいじゃないか。
でも、もう少し。
I like him no matter what way he is, you know?
機会があればまたぜひ。
Wonder if he recognizes and just isn't saying anything, or if he just truly doesn't remember because he does so many of these. Then we have a problem.
助かった。俺、ちょっと前にヨレンタさんの父
Oh,
親
he had the
に会って
mask. I forgot he had the mask on.
その記憶が正しければ、あの人は。
ちょっといいかな。
Gonna say, you can't just say that here.
どうも。
帰られたのでは。
Completely different attitude
娘は
already.
一人で馬車に乗せました。私はまだ仕事があるので。
You might prove useful for this.
実は私、異端審問官やってまして。
20 minutes of tension maxed to the highest level. We go through a torture sequence. We go through a sequence of hopes and dreams, damn well knowing who's about to show up and potentially crash the party come towards the end. They have consistently and still are building Novak to be the most interesting and best character throughout the series, so I'm thrilled for that. Raph not included, but he'd be up there because he was pretty dope. But I love that. Giving full focus as well to almost what he's doing in his character, as well as half focus on the episode throughout the church, I think is much needed. They've been not really in the focus the past however many episodes, so giving it to them I think really gets you back in that mindset of, okay, right, we are here, which is what I think they started to introduce at the end of the last episode, which is really some great stuff overall. And we get left in some rough spots. So first off, I think my general guess for where we're headed in this sequence, with the way that things ended, based on the knowledge and things spilt from Bedeni, and based on, you know, him coming and trying to separate himself from Yolenta to be able to come and talk to him, talk to our other two here. One, he's still just trying to hide the things that he's doing, protecting her in some sort of way from being outside of that and having hope and being optimistic and staying away from all the stuff within the world, which is, I think, what most parents typically try and do is hide things in a way that make them not really see the real world. Can have negative effects, of course, because once they are exposed to these sort of things, and you overly shelter them, and they're going to be able to come out and experience and be like, what the fuck, things are bad, and then they're going to feel a type of way towards you, and might be bad as well for their own growth and being taken advantage of at certain moments too. But I think where my mind's still headed is, I felt when we were building up that he has to come in a job directly down from the priest, that they were trying to intentionally lead us to believe, oh, he just discovered everything he needed to, but now he's going to get caught by Novak. When in reality, I think it's the guy from the previous episode getting caught with the book that he ended up finding, and the priest ended up finding out about this, and then having that information of them looking into him come into play. And now, because we have spilt that we are researching and looking into these sort of things, and we've connected with his daughter on a certain level of that too, I'd assume he's suspicious enough that either we are in association with this other guy, or simply that we might just have knowledge of some way from working with him on any sort of level, that can prove useful for him to find him and maybe figure out information without necessarily needing to immediately jump to torture or any of those sort of things too. Just extracting info from exactly who you can. I don't know if he has full sus or suspicion directly placed on either of our other two here or not. It all depends, I guess, where they want to bring it. I think it's the easy thing to just be like, oh, he knows what they're up to. He knows what Bedeni's trying to prove here, and figured all that out, and he immediately came and tracked them down. And it's like, but it feels a little too straightforward when we almost go in that sort of direction. But I do think that this was beneficial a little bit of, he came here for something else, and he's going to interact and uncover things a little bit more than he initially thought he would get into, which will be fun. And more, I mean, because it's people in relation to his daughter who might be tied into this, and that's the person that he's trying to protect in a way and keep from all of this sort of stuff. So he's gonna be in an interesting spot. We already have Oxy and Bedeni in a really unfortunate situation, because it's never great to be confronted by somebody like this, but Novak's also not really in the best of spots. And I think this will do a really good job too of testing his cold-heartedness that we're almost trying to present in the earlier half. The I just do what I do to get paid kind of thing. I do what I do because it's what I'm told to do. I don't really think too much or move past it. I'm a little bit numb to those sort of feelings, and you kind of get over it. And that's what these other guys are going to likely have to turn into after some time passes with their training. So he uses his daughter with his tone and attitude shift almost when he comes into contact and meets her. His keeping his work separate, all of this stuff basically in regards to her, or relation in some way towards her. It feels like he's separating them. My assumption would be to keep her safe, right? You are creating a world by taking these people that you are being told are evil, and without second guessing it really, and just going into it, trying to remove them or extract more information so you can remove the people from the world that are evil. You're creating a better spot for her to be in, but without her knowing any of this, she can continue to live and dream and be positive about it. So every time he's with her, he can use it as a way to finally escape and not have to put on this sort of act. And it's not really an act, because at a certain point he likely did fully grow cold to everything. And lose all that sense of emotion and anything that would sort of stimulate that. And she's the sole being that when he comes into contact with her, we get to see these other sides that we have seen through the few conversations that he's now had with her being around, and of him talking about her. She's literally the only spark left kind of within his life, it seems like. So he's doing any and everything he can for her, which is a beautiful thing. Of course, it's a wonderful thing. Of course, it's a parent that you would want to see. but at the end of the day, it's just going to be tied into the stuff that you almost run into. So it might be a little rough here. And maybe it's nothing too crazy, maybe it's just wanting to know how she's doing, like really without her being around, and check up and see if they can kind of keep an eye on them almost. But I would still believe that it's what I initially feel, and through the connection of these two being from the church and everything too, you'd make that guess that they likely know a little bit more that can lead to help him out. I don't think that it's just they know and they got caught type of thing, because it's like you can't have that encounter just sitting right here looking at each other and it hasn't really blown up into anything. The most we're going to do is like run away, I guess. But like, where do we run to and how are we going to get away from him? I don't see that really happening while we're in this interaction. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit more toned down and not as crazy tense as I think that it's being built to be. I would pleasantly be surprised if that isn't the case, but I don't think it's a problem if they are going in the direction that I'm feeling, simply because it's still a really fun thing to kind of unravel, because it almost speeds up everything that Badeni was working towards now. His escape and everything he's going to has to speed itself up. And there's a level of you having to be careful and certain with what you do. Because if we immediately jump ship and get out of here right after we get pressed for any reason and whatever Novak will ask us, it's going to literally turn into a situation where you're throwing more suspicion on yourself. I was just questioning this guy who was looking into all of this stuff, or might be related, or might have some sort of knowledge or whatever, and then he just jumped ship and left, and now he's in a different city. It's like, don't you think you're going to start connecting the dots a little bit more? If maybe I have to go track this guy down at some point. So he might be feeling stuck a little bit of, I have to be around until he leaves. Maybe not though. Maybe not. We will have to wait and see. So first half comes in with overall hypocrisy and things from the church, kind of going against the general assumption of what the people who are now working beneath us are led to believe this entire time, right? Thinking that they're getting into a certain scenario that they're definitely not, as well as the expectations that the people on the outside likely have before they either come in, or that they are led to not really know about when it comes from the priest or bishop or whatever they said with his son and all of that. It definitely shows a little bit more to them, and then also now having to firsthand experience and go through this torture and see this guy who's completely numb in comparison to all of that. It really showcased a lot to them, and I love the general hierarchy that still continues even when you get into a status like this. Those who would want to work hard and achieve to get to the position that you're at, but in reality, once you do get to that position, you're still at the bottom of the barrel and looked down upon by the people who are at the top, and not as equals in any way. So it's like a never-ending cycle. You go from being you work your way to the top, and then once you get in, you're at the bottom, and then you got to work your way back up. It's a little rough to have to get through. But even just seeing somebody like Novak in the position that he's in, the way that he gets treated, directly coming from those who believe that your position is useless entirely too, versus those who don't believe that. So it just definitely comes from a morality state, I guess, too. But also just general beliefs of how everything should be conducted, whether it's the torture and things that bother him, or if it just directly comes from thinking like paying and having people go out their way to hunt these kind of guys down is just pointless and useless in general. Everyone has their own sort of feelings. So we go through and we need some information, and this is just basically an entire torture sequence. Remains tense the whole way through. I don't know if it's not necessarily the torture. The torture is not, I don't want to say censored, but it's like censored in the fact that it's not shown to us. Like I think if they showed us and they animated like fingers and everything being completely like broken and stuff, like it would hit way more. But I think it's more so just building up the general fear and first time coming into having to deal with all of this from our new Inquisitors. So it's interesting on that front, but it still is a very tense sort of thing to see how they're going to react, and if they're going to push back against him, and if Novak's going to have any sort of opinions or feelings directly on that when it happens. Being somebody that I don't really know, it was a little more difficult, of course, to grow a sort of connection for me towards her, so it didn't do too much on that part for me, but I think it nails what it's still likely trying to go out of its way and do here. And these guys, we just see the complete shift, right? The struggle, I can't do it, pass it off onto somebody else. And then even looking at him, he's still completely changed now. The blonde guy, at least, he is stone cold in his efforts to just go forward and do this. He's like, fuck it, this is how it has to be. We must do what we do, almost copying after and becoming Novak after just one single situation here, while his partner is just far from it. Not getting his hands dirty in any way too definitely contributes to it, but interesting, of course. Must come with us because the bishop needs us. That's definitely never a good sign. High stake case, I think, is the scenario, and he's fully aware of what's going on. Cute conversation between all of them. I love seeing everybody get so happy with each other. Jolenta's so fun. I love her. And we figure out that we're basically at a good point. We learn about the different paths that Bedeni wants to take and how he wants to get out of here. We learn about the dreams that he has for that and fully coming out and publicly stating his feelings towards what his findings actually were, as well as figuring out where we want to go with Oxy, with his potential plans to hopefully go to university and the book and everything that he's writing as well with it, and where Jolenta wants to go too, which is great. So it's nice seeing everybody's dreams come right before they likely get ripped out completely from you, with Novak wanting to show up here. I think the build up's really good of him slowly walking. You know who it is the entire time, and you're just wondering how much in this conversation is going to get shared and what it will before he ultimately comes in. Will he come in and actually hear over something that he probably shouldn't? I don't know. I completely forgot. That's on me. That Oxy had a mask on the conversation. I thought he didn't. That's on me. So I was like, he just doesn't recognize him. Maybe it's just because he's gone through so many people before. But no, of course he wouldn't. But now having somebody on the other end who definitely has, and not even getting to be the one who spills that yourself, and instead having him return back at the end to do it. So cool. So I thought that was really fun. I don't fully get the come forward and state your position and what you're doing. It's not the worst thing to do, because it could still be being done under the proper manner, as we've kind of explored before. So it's not the worst thing to just come out and say it, and it creates a connection for why you are in relation in some way to his daughter without like really bending the truth too much and lying at all, and that he really didn't at all. But it definitely makes it harder, especially with us knowing his position and Denny not knowing. So if Oxy weren't able to tell him this beforehand, I think he probably would have kept his mouth a little bit more shut, because it definitely raises some sort of flags in his own head. They walk off, bro, I gotta tell you something. But as you're trying to, look who comes back, because we have to have a little talk. Good episode. Enjoyed it. Hope you did as well. If you liked it all, click and subscribe. Now, may feel free to check out the channel. The comments of the series. I'll be back for 12 very soon. It was a great one, though. Peace.